Too Dark, Disney has been converting their older animated films to live actions. The older films were set in the time period that they were originally set in. Maleficent was in the Sleeping Beauty world, and Dumbo was in the Dumbo world. This time they're going after a different audience. Younger, hipper, more rock and roll, with Cruella, starring two Emmas in the leading roles. Emma Stone is Cruella, and Emma Thompson is the actual baddie of the movie The Baroness. Also starring Joe Fry as Jasper and Paul Walter Hauser as Horace, who are Cruella's actual partners in crime. This is an origin story that's a lot like Catwoman meets Devil Wears Prada. Here's the backstory. A girl named Stella of 1970s London. She has recently become an orphan, and it turns out that she has a great eye for fashion. She attracts the attention of the Baroness, who's the top London fashion designer. The problem is that the Baroness wants to stay at the top of her game, and it means stealing from the up-and-coming fashion designers who are under her. But instead of this being a Cinderella story, this girl has a dark side where she spends her days committing petty crimes with Horace and Jasper. And I don't think this part works here. Sometimes the character turning from good to bad works, like when Selena Kyle transforms herself into the Catwoman. And the reason why that is, Selena Kyle had a mental breakdown. I think the origin story has her falling out of the window and hitting her head on the concrete. And that's what jars her whole mental existence. A TBI, if you will. She has a TBI that reset everything about her. She went from sweet to aggressive and angry, like often happens if you have a TBI. Also, she looks like Catwoman when she wears the mask with the red dress. So there's this part in the movie where Cruella is meek and mild Stella at work, but at night, when she attends parties, she's Cruella and acting like a villain. The Baroness doesn't know her, but you would think that some of the hangers-on would figure it out, because to the Baroness, Stella's an underling, but to these other people, Stella's a co-worker. Her co-workers know what she was like, and her co-workers would know whether she's faking, I think, because you get to know your co-workers much better than your underlings. My point is that the mental breakdown she would have to reset her brain, and she would be unable to hide at work in her meek and mild personality, because that kind of acting would be beneath her. She would be unable to do that because her brain is all rewired. Another thing that I don't like was the movie was too long. It was about 2.5 hours. And I don't know if the younger kids would be able to stay in the movie theater for 2.5 hours, because that's a long time. And that's why the original animated movies were shorter than 2 hours. This is not a complicated film. It's an origin story that tells how meek and mild Stella becomes Cruella. The things I like about Cruella was you get the feel for Stella where she's trying to impress the Baroness just so she can get her foot in the door of the fashion world, and what the Baroness does to Stella. This type of thing is real in Hollywood. They use you, they use your work, they put their name on your work, they throw your work in the trash can. This also happens in the fashion industry until you get a break. Also, the movie was really dark. Maybe parents wouldn't like the darkness because it discusses death. And maybe it would freak out some of the kids, but I don't know how the kids are today. I would have been freaked out when I was a kid. The two movies I picked out for this movie, I've mentioned them a couple times before. It's Catwoman and Devil Wears Prada. I think those two films match up with this film as a theme. And also, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share my work, comment, and have a great day.